Let's bring on Bob Holt, our friend from the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, on this Thursday. Bob, I usually ask what's new in your world, what are you up to today, and then you usually answer with the same thing. Well, I'm home, and that's about it. So I guess I'll ask a different question today. How are you feeling today, Bob?
I'm feeling good. I am home looking out my window here. Nice sunny day. I've already been out once to bring the trash, can and the recycling back up to the house. So, already got my workout for the day.
That's right. You've gotten off the couch as much as you need to. So I don't really know if Jamie Newman opting out helps Arkansas all that much in game one this year, because Georgia's one of these programs where, and maybe they haven't always been able to do this at quarterback, but they reload at so many different positions. And honestly, like you end up now with a guy in probably JT Daniels, who is more talented than the guy who had steadily led Georgia to all this success the previous 3 years. So it's almost like 6 and 1/2 the other. I wonder what you think.
Yeah, I don't think anybody has to be feeling sorry for the Georgia Bulldogs and Kirby Smart. I mean, Newman, obviously, he's a good college quarterback. He's projected as the top 3 rounds in the NFL. And you hear different theories about, he wasn't going to win the job, or, he's obviously, it's understandable anybody be worried about the coronavirus and the uncertainty, and maybe he just feels like, hey, I'm better off going and working on the draft, because I'm sure his intention was to go to Georgia, have a big season, and raise his draft stock, which is and win games, of course. But yeah, I mean, they're pretty loaded at every position. I mean, to me, Georgia does not have to have an elite quarterback to win games. Maybe to beat Alabama, they probably do, but they're really loaded at most positions. Sam Pittman obviously knows that, being from Georgia. Barry Odom talked about that yesterday because he went against them 4 straight years as Missouri's coach. So, George and Daniels, you're right, he may be a better quarterback anyway. I mean, the guy was at USC, and the only reason he lost his job is because he got hurt. So I think, Georgia's still, a top 10 team in my mind.
So what do we got going on here? Tomorrow is a scrimmage, right? The second scrimmage of fall camp. Do we know how long they're going? What the participation is expected? What do we know about what's happening tomorrow?
Well, yeah, we do know there's a scrimmage going on tomorrow, and everything's been pretty closed off. They went 120-something plays in the first scrimmage, and Sam's talked about how they're in good shape. They need to get in game shape, and they kind of struggled with that some in the last scrimmage. So a lot of times teams have 3 scrimmages, and then the last one's a little bit lighter. Sam's indicated this will probably be their only scrimmage. I mean, this will be their last scrimmage at camp. They might do some scrimmage-like work. I would expect it to still be a pretty long, physical scrimmage. 120 plays. You want to, if nothing else, you want to give your backups a lot of reps. I'm sure they'll be real careful. I doubt if Rakeem Boyd might. I don't know. It would surprise me if he sat out or just got a couple of plays. I mean, the last thing in the world you want is, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but especially your key players. But I would think it'd be a pretty long scrimmage because they still have some position battles they're trying to sort out, and if they're trying to get their conditioning up, and have it be like a game, then they need to get out there and get some serious snaps.
Yeah, well, you hit on something that I know I'd read about, the idea of conditioning, and you got to be able to keep up with the tempo of the Kendall Briles offense. And really, I mean, if you see the other teams that you're playing against this year, you've plenty of other offenses that play up tempo as well. So defensively, they've got to be able to be as in shape. I guess I feel surprised that the conditioning is not where Coach Pittman would like it to be. But then again, maybe I shouldn't be surprised, being that, with the pandemic, if you put everybody on their own, they end up maybe not in the best shape possible when they end up coming back to campus. And it was like something that hit me that Myron Cunningham said to the media a week ago. They asked, how did you put on this weight? And he said, eating. And it was basically just eating. It wasn't like great food or like, lean meats, or it was just eating. And to me, I don't know if that was the answer I wanted to hear.
Yeah, I can relate. I've done that too. Of course, I'm not the left tackle for the Razorbacks. But, I think obviously in a normal year they would have had winter conditioning. They would have gone through spring ball, which they did have their winter conditioning. They were right on the verge of starting spring ball. Then they would have, continued conditioning over the summer, uninterrupted, and then they would have had a shorter fall camp. So, obviously they were home for whatever. I think everybody went home about mid-March, so April, May. I mean, they were home basically on their own for close to 3 months. And it's not like I don't think these guys all just sat around eating, French fries and milkshakes and never did anything. But when you're talking about a high-level SEC athlete, there's a difference in. I mean, I think if you took an NFL player or an Olympic athlete or something, you said, okay, go train by yourself. You don't have any coaching. You don't have other people helping push you. Nobody would work out as well in that situation. I'm not saying they didn't work out hard. Some of them didn't have access to weight rooms, and they maybe were lifting the neighbors' weights in their garage or doing, push-ups, doing the old Herschel Walker, push-ups and sit-ups and stuff. So I think it's understandable these guys, didn't start camp in the kind of shape that they would have been if there weren't all these issues. So, in a sense, maybe they got to sort of play their way into it a little bit. It's a little more like things used to be, where guys, like in NFL training camps, guys would shape up for spring training baseball. It's a little more old school. I'm not saying those guys report as out of shape as those guys did back in the 50s or whatever, but I think that's an element probably a lot of teams are dealing with.
Speaking of Bob Holt here on halftime, Bob, there's a couple positions that's, I don't know, I want to say that's necessarily up for concern right now, but I guess I am a little concerned that you haven't seen players step up to that number one position. I'll start on the defensive side of the ball. When you look at the linebacker spot, I mean, you got Bumper Poole, you got Grant Morgan, you got Levi Draper who transferred in, and according to Sam Pittman and what we've read and seen just through different the practices and everything, there hasn't really been that one guy to really step up into that first team role at the linebacker spot. Is that a concern to you, or what should we be thinking right now on the defensive side of the ball at linebacker?
Well, yeah, I mean, because we don't get to see. I mean, I personally have not been out to practice. Tom Murphy's been out there for us, been our eyes and ears, does a great job. But the guys that go out there don't get to see a whole lot. I mean, I got to believe Bumper Poole's your main guy. I mean, he started a lot the last full-time starter last year and started as a freshman. I think he's definitely the leader of that group. We don't exactly know what all's going on with guys moving around or in and out, that kind of thing. It's just not like it used to be, where you have to watch everything and talk to everybody. But that's a bit of a concern. I think they have some numbers there. I know Sam talked earlier in camp that he liked the numbers. That's been one issue with Arkansas. You felt like you had guys like Scooter Harris and Dre Greenlaw, and he was healthy, and you had two really good linebackers, but then the depth really dropped off after that. Maybe like last year you had a guy like Bumper, and as a true freshman he had to play. I guess that's more what I was thinking of his freshman year. But, that's a concern, because obviously that's a key position, and Barry Odom's defense, they're going to be multiple. But, the linebackers, you need as many of those guys you can get. Those guys for special teams too.
One thing we were talking about before we got you on was the new Razorback fan cutouts that you can have at Razorback Stadium this year. And I'm just curious, what's it going to take for us to get a Bob Holt cutout right at the 50-yard line at Razorback Stadium this fall?
Well, I saw that release, and of course you see that when you watch the Major League games, the NBA games, and I don't know if they have a NASCAR or soccer or whatever, but that's all well and good. But I'm a rider. I'm not a fan, so I guess somebody could stick it up in the press box or something. But that's stuff that the fans need to do.
That's what I want to see, and I doubt I'll end up in the press box at any point during the football season, but I want to see a Bob Holt cardboard cutout next to a Clay Henry cardboard cutout, next to a Mike Irwin cardboard cutout, next to Wally Hall, the real Wally Hall. So that to me sounds like it would be that'd be worth the price of admission.
Well, I think you got lower standards than most people do.
No, we josh about that just a tiny little bit. Bob, we'll leave it there, man. Appreciate you coming on as always. Glad you're able to get a little exercise today, and look forward to talking next week.
Thanks, Bob.
Okay, you guys take care. Stay safe.
Got it. Bob Holt, Arkansas Democrat Gazette.
That's a great idea. Having the media members and different people like us sitting in the press box. That way you always know we're there. We're there in spirit.
If not in body and mind, right?
Exactly. Yes.
At the very least.